You got an appointment?
Yeah.
You're not allowed up with no appointment.
Well now, this is unexpected. I'm torn. I despise rudeness toward Eileen, who is entirely invaluable to Slug, and yet I do enjoy this bold, dare I say brash, approach you're taking. Now then, here for my alibi, I assume. Another murder? Drunk raptidons? Black hole birdie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing. Did you now? You're confident they were Slug agents and not, I don't know, hired thugs in stolen uniforms? I'm a very specific man. It tends to invite specific problems. The real question is, why would someone want thugs to get their hands on Slug gear? I suspect you're right. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? You said it, not me. So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that settled, I assume you'll want to know where I was the night of Helen's murder. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? An excellent question. I had his body dropped off the edge of the land complex. I'm not sure what happened to it from there, scientifically speaking. Maybe it dissolved? Ultimately, though, it doesn't matter. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. It's as I said. You shouldn't. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. I'm considering a line of commemorative merchandise. Still, that's nothing compared to what Helen would have made us in the long run. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I have a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. You may very well want to. This particular trouble strikes me as not unrelated to your investigation. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm not sure. I'm only confident there is one. That the thefts began mere days before Helen's untimely demise is an extraordinary coincidence. I'm not a man who believes in happenstance, Inspector. I do not trust it. I certainly wouldn't take that bet. Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. You do recall, Inspector, that I'm not to be trusted? But certainly, whatever you say. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. If she won't cooperate, tell me and I will shoot her. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here. Don't hold back on my account. Was there something else you wanted to discuss? Constable Keene? Now that is a damn shame. Am I right to think this wasn't a workplace accident? It seems murder is becoming an unsettling trend on Eridanos as of late. Thank you for informing me of Constable Keene's passing. When you find her killer, please be certain to make them suffer. Good. I'll hold you to that. We may have been on opposite sides of the law on occasion, but we were not enemies. Perhaps it will shock you to hear her loss saddens me. Maria was a decent soul, and law knows those are in short supply around here. A little square, perhaps, in her dedication to the rules, but good nonetheless. I'm also saddened to have lost an occasional drinking buddy. She was quite good at cards, you know. No, she didn't. But let's discuss something else. Do you have other matters requiring my attention? The original incident? I made him an offer he should have refused. An excellent deduction, Inspector. Our combative relationship stems from paperwork, mundanely enough. Rizzo's contracted Sublight to construct the Eridanos atmospheric complex. Had Lou wanted Rizzo's to retain full control of Eridanos, he shouldn't have skimmed the revised contract I sent him. Lou's an administrator, for law's sake. I thought he would adore all the fine print I added. My power grab, as Lou called it, planted the seed of hatred. And Lou, obsessed with what should have been, has made sure to water it daily with his bitterness and anger. Alas, I can't. I am, first and foremost, the head of Slug, and it simply wouldn't be good for business. Slug's control of Eridanos is a crucial step in my long-term plans for Sublight. The board needs to see irrefutable proof we are a respectable, legitimate business. Because one day soon, Sublight will obtain a seat on it. Meanwhile, our dear administrator is still laser-focused on old slights, which can be a nuisance. He's grown increasingly desperate to catch Slug with our hand in the proverbial cookie jar as of late, convinced we're involved in less than legal business opportunities. I wish I could wink, but it always looks like I have something caught in my eye. Very well. Helen was strangely curious about the private business operations around Eridanos. She said it was role research, but how much business know-how does one actor truly need for an action picture? I also arranged to have Helen supplied with mag picks, bypass shunts, and other hacking tools. She wanted to buy in bulk. Because she paid me to, Inspector. Besides, Helen was enjoyable company. She was confident, resourceful, determined, not unlike you, now that I consider it. That is the question, isn't it, Inspector? Tell me, do you really believe Helen's death was a mere crime of passion? Or one of petty career jealousy? A smart approach, Inspector. And yet, this murder is bigger than Miss Helen's personal life. Bigger than her latest moving picture. Her actions in the time leading up to her death do not align with those of an actor on Eridanos solely to promote Spectrum Brown. Stay sharp, Inspector. Now is not the time to lose focus. Because whoever did kill Helen is not going to come forward so easily. I just might. Your point, Inspector? Now that is interesting. I suppose we'll see, won't we? Be very careful, Inspector. I'd very much like to see you still around for the grand finale, whenever it comes, whatever shape it takes. One moment, if you please, Inspector. I've answered your questions. I believe it's my turn to ask you a question now. What, or who, made you decide to investigate me? Was it now? Thank you for your honesty, Inspector. Thanks very much indeed. Now then, did you need anything else?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed to create sufficient space for the hidden listening device inside.
You figured that out just by looking at it? Huh. We ought to talk shop one of these days.
Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Ominous threat transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, it has been narrowed down to a smaller, approximate range. Analysis inconclusive. However, there is a minor accumulation of dust particles present on the book's uppermost surface. The area within a 0.5 meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely, Inspector.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found in Cedric's office. It's somewhat grime-covered. Due to the high level of foot traffic in this area, this unit is unable to determine who placed the device. Based on the accumulated mix of sludge and detritus, the receiver has been present since approximately a week before Helen's death.
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Right, of course. Just tell me how I can help. That's the weird part. There's a pattern, far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh. Who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? Even to an inspector? Gosh, that must make your job awfully tough. Then there's the most recent theft. 5 boxes of pens and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. Well, I'm no inspector. If there is one, I'm sure you'll find it. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, it's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager. He told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle cargo. Could be. Those things'll break if you so much as look at them funny. That's Benton's area, but don't bother asking him for help. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the whole head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. Brain dead, maybe. But no. My point is that if you think the automechs are a lead, you'll have to check on them yourself. Hopefully, you're mechanically inclined. Maybe they're keen on cashing out and want to go as painfully as possible. I don't know. Boss Kincannon's office is where he holds most of his meetings with important folks like Miss Helen. Just about all negotiations happen in his office too. Vendor pricing, major purchase orders, rentals for construction projects, you name it. Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal, so I had a spare keycard made. It's all yours. Oh no, I forgot to delete all of those incriminating messages I sent about which cargo to steal. Nah, I do have a list of cargo that's gone missing though, if that helps any.
Ready when you are.